All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my boy, Loyalist. And today we are going to discuss, well, the combine pressers between Frank Ballard and, Frank Ballard. That's who we're talking about, Frank Ballard.
I'm getting playback twice. You're
Oh.
talking to me and I'm hearing it again.
That's weird. Okay. But Daryl asks, how are we doing? We're doing fine, except for he's hearing me 2 times, which means, do you have the YouTube, if you're watching YouTube, do you have it muted?
Yeah, I'm not watching YouTube.
Interesting.
Sorry.
Nobody else hearing this double up as well? Hopefully not, because that'd be weird. Just saying. Okay, so Frank Ballard presser. Okay, Chris Ballard, Frank Reich. They talked to the media during the combine yesterday. I was going to do an emergency one on it yesterday. They said, I put out a tweet, and it was about 50-50, so I decided, you know what, we'll just wait, do it today. And so here we are, and we're going to discuss what we gleaned out of the combine pressers from Indianapolis Colts G.M. Chris Ballard and head coach Frank Reich. Now, Loyalist, what did you glean out of it? What was the main thing that you got out of those 2 pressers?
Honestly, I just got a lot of confirmation of the stuff that we already knew going in. You know, I mean, it just seemed like Chris Ballard, you know, I mean, he didn't really give us any answers, you know what I mean? But he also sat there and pointed out a lot of the things that we've been talking about here on Colts Law, just, you know, the inconsistencies, but yet Carson Wentz isn't a lost cause like a lot of people seem to be reporting out in the media and stuff. And so to me, it's just very interesting. And like I said, I felt like I got more insight about other aspects of the team and stuff than I did about the quarterback position, even though that's what they covered a lot.
Well, if you go look at the actual media, national media, you got about 50-50 sitting out there. You got about 50-50 saying, you know, you need to just move on from Wentz. Now it's time to move on. And then the other half is like, really move on with what? You know, right now, Carson Wentz is your best option. And I think that has a lot to do with how Chris Ballard was talking in that was he kept talking about what's best for the team long-term and short-term, right? Meaning, straight up, he's got to look what's best this year. If he cannot go out and get an upgrade to Wentz, then Wentz is the guy, period. You know, that would be the best thing short-term because you already have him in the building. He's got a year with the team and the players. And, you know, he's going to get an off-season and stuff with it. So, and then, of course, next year, you could still trade him. If he ends up turning out not what you want, you could trade him for a pick, which would then help you when you already have a first and second round pick next year, have extra ammo to move up and get a quarterback that you might want in next year's draft, because this year's draft, let's face it, there's not a guy on this draft. If Carson Wentz was in the draft for this year, he'd be picked before every other quarterback in this draft. Let's put that out there right now. There's very few free agent quarterbacks. None of them, I would say, are better than Carson Wentz. None of the free agent quarterbacks are. And there's a couple out there that you could trade for. For instance, Jimmy Garoppolo. But Jimmy G's getting ready to have shoulder surgery, so he's going to probably miss training camp, right, from what I'm understanding. He may not miss the season if he goes to a team, but he's probably going to miss the majority of the offseason. Sounds similar to what Carson Wentz went through. And quite frankly, I think that he is kind of a lateral move from Carson Wentz. You know, both guys, one does things better than the other and vice versa, you know. The only two guys really that I see that could be an option in the trade market, their specific teams, Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and Russell Wilson of Seattle, have straight up said, we're not trading our quarterbacks. We're keeping them. And that's if Aaron Rodgers decides not to retire. We'll find out about that here, you know, soon enough. So I'm looking at it as, you know, they haven't made their decision yet because they don't know what's going on outside with their trade proposals. They're probably sitting there waiting on feedback to find out if they can get an upgrade. If they can get an upgrade, sure. You know, I see it, they see it. That's fine. But if they can't, then they may have to stick with Wentz. And that's why they haven't made that decision yet. And that's why I believe they have are still going out there telling people, hey, we're still discussing this. We're still, you know, talking about it. We don't know what's going on. What do you think?
Yeah, and Ballard did real good. He didn't really pigeonhole himself into either direction. You know what I mean? It's like I take my cap off to Ballard. He had an awkward presser to deal with this year. You know what I mean? And the thing was he was able to talk about things that addressed both sides of the argument. You know what I mean? So he's acknowledging, hey, I understand all this, guys. I got this. You know what I mean? I can see where everybody's point of view is, but you know, I just like how he's just basically said, look, I'm not going to be knee-jerking this thing. I'm not going to be overreacting to this thing. And he, like I said, he addressed everybody's pros and cons on both sides of the argument and stuff. So to me, I don't know that you could have gotten much more answers at the quarterback position, not in this type of environment. Yeah. Yeah, I agree completely. And the thing was, you know, I mean, the way he handled the Parris Campbell and the T.Y. Hilton, I like the way he's saying that, you know, he's going to, okay, there's something going on with our sound. They've got you been muted for 5 minutes, they said. And there for a while, I lost the echo, but now the double play is coming back again. I can hear you twice. I can literally get one whole sentence and then it overlays another sentence the whole time. And then if I'm talking like now, I can hear myself talking from earlier. All right, but yeah, like I said, the whole thing with the way Ballard dealt with the uh, Parris Campbell and the T.Y. Hilton, I liked it because he's acknowledging, yes, these are guys that I mean, if T.Y. Hilton's interested, we're going to look into that. If Parris Campbell, he's on for one more year. We've got I mean, but he's not putting all his eggs in those baskets. I mean, it's not. I don't want to call them luxuries, but I mean, you take these two guys and stuff. If we do re-sign T.Y. Hilton and stuff, you put them on the roster, but you don't sit there and you don't expect them coming out of gate to be your number two and your number two receiver. I mean, you're hoping that one of these guys, Parris Campbell, if he stays healthy and balls out like we think he can, he could easily become your number two, but you don't want to put all your eggs in that basket. You know what I mean? So I guess what I got from the receiving position was he wants more playmakers. He mentioned Michael Pittman Jr. Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines. He says, these are the three playmakers that I see that we have, but we also are looking to get more playmakers and stuff. So I like that idea. Go ahead. Okay. But for me, the big thing is like I said, he's not sitting there and saying, okay, we're going to sign these guys and that's our number two and number three receiver. These are the guys that are just going to be able to, if they produce and stuff, awesome. Does T.Y. Hilton bring something to the locker room? Does T.Y. offer something in the play? I mean, T.Y. Hilton has been injured, but whenever he's been healthy, he's been able to ball out and stuff. No, he doesn't have the same, blistering speed or separation that he's had in previous years and stuff, understandably so. But he he can compensate for that with his intelligence, with his football IQ. So I like the fact that, Ballard's sitting there and he's acknowledging these guys. And no, I mean, you're not, if you cut Parris Campbell, you save no money. Okay. If you bring T.Y. Hilton back, from what I've gathered, I don't think this is going to be another 1 year, $10 million contract. The feeling I've got is, this is going to be more of the lower end contract, you know what I mean? And I just like the way that Ballard has addressed everything, but he's not, he's not sitting there and listening to all the stuff that we're listening to constantly and letting that affect his decision. So that's a huge plus, I think. Okay. But yeah, guys, let's see what the chat's got going for us. Kurt Jeffers asked, what's next at the quarterback position? This is just something that we're just going to have to wait for the next couple of weeks. Like I said, Ballard's doing his due diligence. I mean, everybody's sitting there and wanting this answer now. He's leaving no stone unturned. He's trying to make sure that he, dives into all the possible options and stuff. And then he's going to make what's the best decision for the team. And quite honestly, that's all you can ask for. I just, the things that I got, I would say didn't change my opinion of Carson Wentz. I still think that they might stick with them and stuff. But the thing is I also realized the things that he said didn't change the other people's point of view, that if they thought Carson Wentz was gone, that he's definitely gone. Everybody's like, oh, see, this proves my point, or, oh, see, this proves my point. But the thing is like most things, there's that somewhere in the middle, what I mean? That's where we'll probably find the realistic outcome of this situation. Hopefully within the next couple weeks with the, March 16th deadline coming up for Carson Wentz and when he gets that other payment. Parris or Speed Maverick says Parris has the talent to be a number one if he can be consistent. I'll tell you right now, man, Parris, talent-wise, Parris has all the talent that you can hope for, but maybe not a number one, but definitely a number two wide receiver, possibly a fringe number one guy. But the thing about Parris, and it's more than he's just got to consistently be on the field. Give him that opportunity to produce on the field and stuff, and then let's sit there and worry about his consistency as far as performing. He just needs to be consistently there and available first off.
So I changed my microphone.
What'd you say?
Sorry, I changed my microphone. You're going to hear me out of my mic, but they're here going to hear me out of this. I don't know what's up. I don't know. For some reason, this microphone is not being registered by my computer, but registered by other places. It's weird. But either way, it's all good. Here I am. Truett, Alpha, Speed. Appreciate each and every one of you.
I'm going to try something real quick. I'll be back in a minute.
No, not a problem. So here's the issue. All right, the Indianapolis Colts with the quarterback situation. I don't see them making a move unless they get a top tier quarterback. I really don't. I'm sorry. It is what it is. The problem is they need an upgrade. They talk about, well, if you trade him now, you get a draft pick. Well, you could do that next year too. Next year you get a draft pick. Do you really want Marcus Mariota quarterbacking for the Indianapolis Colts? I don't. Jimmy Garoppolo, why would you give up another draft pick, say a third-round draft pick for Jimmy G, when he's a sideways move, when you could wait a season, trade Carson Wentz, get money, don't have to worry about losing anything, and it just seems logical that way. People, well, we want to win now. Well, are we really going to win much with the available quarterbacks that we have unless we have an upgrade? A real upgrade. And it looks like Kyler Murray and Aaron Rodgers is off the board. Now, does that mean that Chris Ballard's not going to go out and swing for the fences and be like, look, dude, I'll still give you 3 first-round picks for him? Maybe it happens. I really do believe that Chris Ballard's out there doing his best to get the best franchise quarterback he could possibly get. But he's got to think about short-term and long-term. And that is it. And honestly, I don't want Kyler Murray. I don't want Kyler Murray. Looks like I lost Loyalist completely. All good. Kyler Murray is showing to be selfish in his playoff game. He's like, I don't want to run. I'm not going to run. You're not going to force me to run. He didn't want to go back in because of it. Right? Now he wants paid up front. And on top of that, we all saw what he's looked like multiple games. In the game against the Colts, Kyler Murray looked awful. In his playoff game against the Rams, he looked awful. All right. He has okay games and he has bad games. Kyler Murray is not it to me at all. So that's how I feel about that whole quarterback situation. Give the man another offseason, give him a chance. People want to talk about, well, he's lost the locker room. Says who? Says who? All I've ever saw from anybody that has used Twitter or Instagram or anything when it came to players that work with him, actual work with him, have had nothing but positive things to say about him, right? So, everybody, even the leaders in there. So I don't believe in this whole thing where, Twitter's saying that Carson Wentz has lost the locker room and none of the players want him there. And I think that's BS. I don't believe that one little bit. But we will know in the next 2 weeks. March 19th is that deadline to where the Colts will pay the roster bonus. It's about $6.3 million is that roster bonus. Okay? So, if they're going to release him or trade him, it'll happen by March 19th. And that's all we got to wait on. Do I know 100% what's going on in there? No, I'm not in there with the talks. And neither is anybody else out there that's talking saying, we have sources. They know as much as you know. All right? That's a flat fact. I don't care who their sources are unless it comes from the horse's mouth. And in this case, that horse is a colt by the name of Frank Reich or Chris Ballard. unless it comes out of their mouths, those two horses' mouths, then their sources mean jack. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Because no one knows what's going on. Even Frank and Chris don't even know what's going on yet. But when they know, we'll probably know shortly after, within a day or two probably, because, something will happen. A trade will go down, or Carson will be released, or, some crap will happen. If a change is made, we'll know. If a change is not made, we'll know it March 20th. Whether or not anyone says anything or not.
Yeah, and the thing is communication's open with Carson Wentz. Ballard said he spent an hour talking to him, just that day before the presser and stuff. So it's everybody's like, Carson's this bad leader, and Carson this and Carson that. And honestly, guys, I don't know where or why. I know Morton's put stuff out, and I can understand the questions, okay? On both sides there, I can understand. Carson Wentz, the WTF plays, all that stuff that we've talked about numerous shows. Okay, we understand that, but there's also all the upsides to it and stuff. And the thing is Ballard just seems to be, like I said, making the decisions, letting all parties that are involved, letting them know where he's at in the process and stuff. So it's not like this, let's trust Ballard, okay? He's not sat there and steered this ship into a wall. He's not ever sat there and done anything that has been, reckless or anything. Yes, he has gambled some, even if Carson Wentz works or doesn't work out, it's a gamble. Just like dropping that money on DeForest Buckner. It's a gamble. These are things, but he's making the decisions from a point of calm, collected, and educated, thinking, and that's all you can ask for from your leader or from the guy that's making these decisions.
Absolutely. That's exactly what he said at the end of the season presser. He said, look, I'm not making any decisions right now. I'm not, because the poison is still there, right? The poison is in my veins. I want to make these decisions with a clear head, and no decision will be made until that point. People want to talk about, Jim Irsay when he was talking, out there in front of his jet, right? And everybody's like, well, that's it. Carson's gone. There's a reason why Chris Ballard said no decisions will be made right away. It's not just for him. It was for his boss, the owner, right? Because he had the poison in him too, and then it was just like everybody else. He's a fan like everybody else. You, me, Dupree, it doesn't matter who it is. Everybody was upset if they were a Colts fan with how that season ended. And Ballard was giving Irsay, without Irsay knowing it, a little bit of break. Said, we're going to spend some time, let you cool down, let you have a level head, and realize, hey, we got to make smart decisions here, not off-the-cuff fire decisions because of what happened.
Yeah, and the funny thing is you sit there and you talk about Irsay as a fan. First off, I would never want to, I love the way this man runs this team and love him or hate him with the social media or whatever. I enjoy all of it, okay? And the thing is you sit there and you talk about him being a fan, okay? Imagine you're a Colts fan and you drop $100 on the game, okay? Now you've gone from a fan to now you feel like you got some skin in the game. Rumor has it Irsay's got some skin in this game, guys. So for the fact that, we sit there and we talk about how much poison we had in us over the way things ended, I couldn't imagine the level of toxicity he had in his body.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Alpha Wolf like, Bud Dupree's a Colts fan? It's a saying. Everybody's heard that saying, right? You, me, and Dupree. Yeah. I think it's a movie, too, if I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. Just like coming out of the horse's mouth, it's just a saying. Maybe it's an Indiana saying, and I'm losing everybody. Maybe. I don't know. Tomorrow's a big day for Loyalist, guys. He is actually directing and producing a video tomorrow evening with a whole bunch of content creators. And I'm just going to be there to kind of guide and give advice and stuff like that. But Loyalist has got this down. I went out and I tried to reach out to a few other people besides just regular everyday content creators to maybe, throw a few things in. This may not be released tomorrow. This may be released Friday, Saturday, Sunday, depending upon how long it takes to edit it and to get everything out. But honestly, when he proposed the idea, I thought it was absolutely fantastic and wonderful. And especially with the combine going on right now, I think it's something that the Indianapolis Colts fans need to see and hear and consume as content, because let's face it, the way the season ended, we're all really still to this point up. It may not be burning as high as it was 2 months ago, but it's still there, right?
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, guys, if you want to see the behind the scenes and before it gets all edited and made looking polished and nice and neat and stuff, check out the Patreon, because this is going to be something that we're going to open up to the Patreon. They're going to be able to voice some questions, have access to, to your point, bring the juice, no horsing around, and some of the other content creators, UK Colts and stuff. So if you want to join, it's $5 a month. Now's a great time to get in. It's the first of the month. You give $5, you'll get to be able to see everything that Lawrence and I put out there. Lawrence, if he goes to somebody else and talks with Deer Pass Nation or whatever, I'm telling you what, guys, come in and check it out, especially before tomorrow, because I have a feeling Lawrence is going to have his hands full tomorrow.
Yeah, probably. Hey, guys, he talked about it, man. The Patreon, it's only $5 a month. It's really easy. Cheaper than a cup of coffee, and you get a lot of inside information, including, our weekly Patreon only streams. This week it'll be this Saturday rather than Thursday, which is what we normally have it at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard every Thursday, but except for this Thursday, because we're doing your thing. And then, of course, you get votes in on my film rooms that I do, and I got a film room coming out again, at least one a week during this off season. So go check it out. What'd you say? Go check out the Patreon now, cause Defo said so. Also, go check out the Backroom Collection, because that's where you can get Defo and a lot of other Colts, man, for your wall and all that other kind of stuff. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts sign pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. My cat is yelling at me.
Yeah, your inner defo scared your cat.
I guess he's over here. Is everything okay? Interesting question. He says that Ballard said that Nelson is worth 17 to 20 mil. Do you think that's too much for us to pay for a guard? No. In my opinion, no. When it comes to a game-changing player, I don't care what position it is, okay? When you have a game-changing player that lifts the play of players around them, which is exactly what Quentin Nelson is, there's no amount of money that's worth that, right? Darius Leonard's, Quentin Nelson's, those kind of people are guys you pay no matter what. If the rest of the offensive line had to go and we just kept Quentin Nelson, I would keep Quentin Nelson, because he's that kind of player. He's that kind of person. When you have a guard on the offensive line that can walk up to your coach and change the game calls, or walk up to, which he did last year, right? How many times did he walk up and say, hey, we need to start running the football, man? Mm-hmm. Direct runs, and then it would happen, right? Or during preseason, walk up to his boss's boss, Chris Ballard, and go, I'm supposed to be the best I am at protecting a quarterback, and you give me this crap to have to practice with? I mean, that's the kind of person that Quentin Nelson is, and he is way worth that kind of money.
Absolutely. And he brings culture to your team. He brings a toughness. Okay, you know what I mean? That quite honestly, that's I feel like what this team needs a little more of is some of that toughness. You know what I mean? Ballard today on I don't know if you got to listen to it, but on Dan Dockett's show, he was on there for like an hour. So, I was sitting there listening to Ballard, and I mean, I don't normally listen to Dockage, but it was just a really interesting dialogue back and forth. Listen to these two guys go back and forth. And the thing was he was just like straight and to the point. He's like, no. And he's like, yeah. He goes, I'm not going to give Quentin Nelson a blank check, but he goes, maybe a little under 17 to 20 million. You know what I mean? But the thing is you sit there and you tell your team you want this toughness. You want to sit there and not worry about, pardon my language, but pissing away these victories where you've already got, these leads built up and stuff. And it's not that I'm saying Quentin Nelson affected the downfall or anything, but the thing is if you get more guys with that mentality, that character, and they're leading this team, I feel like a lot of the how did Ballard called it bleeding out? He said the team bled out during some of these games and stuff. Quentin Nelson, he's your tourniquet. He's the guy on the offensive side that can help be that tourniquet. Help stop the bleeding and help try to get things on track. Quentin Nelson, to your point, whether it's a coach, whether it's a running back, I mean, he goes over to coach, says, hey, man, we need to get, some more run plays in. Then next person he goes to, JT, hey, I just went to bat for you. Do what you do. You know what I mean? And a guy that can sit there and just communicate so clearly, but just straight to the point, no fluff, no guff. I mean, I love that. I ain't gonna lie, I love it.
Yep. Guys, please smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell if you are subscribed so that you're notified next time we go live or upload a video. Those likes, that's one way that you could support this channel for free. Because I see 21 people in here. I'd like to see 21 likes with 21 people in here. Because, the higher percentage of likes compared to viewers means that YouTube will then push that out to other people depending upon what that percentage is. So it's big for us, and we appreciate you guys doing that for us. If there's other ways that you want to help, you could use the donation link right here in the description of the video. It's just like a super chat. You could also use the YouTube super chat if you'd like as well. Any donations obviously go straight to helping us provide more and better content for you. I do have to get the one other ad in before we get into only the chat. And it is obvious. I'm going to show you guys the heck with it. All right, hold on. Say something.
All right. I have no idea what's let's see what the give me a second. What's up in LA Rams? Glad you're in here, brother. Yeah, but the thing is, guys, is like I said, I feel like everybody seemed to have lost some faith in Ballard, or what I mean, and I understand that there's everybody wants a home run all the time. Everybody wants every draft pick to work out. But to be realistic, I mean, this guy has loaded this roster in 5 going on 6 years now. What makes you think that he's not going to do it this year? What makes you think that he's not looking at the same things that we're seeing? He's got a better knowledge and more, a more plugged in point of view. So let's give the guy, the guy hasn't let us down yet. Let's just give the guy a chance to do what he does.
All right. So we are sponsored by Ultra Game. And you can get Ultra Game, where, the Amazon Prime, and you can specifically get this, but in Colts, because this is not Colts. However, it is a nice item. Not only is it a nice item, it was a Super Bowl team, right? Oh man, this thing is freaking thick, and it's got the inside hood. Oh my good, you can get this in Colts as well. It is a Super Bowl. It's not the Super Bowl winner, But yeah, and then on the back of it, it's got the team's name, which is nice. Go check it out. Link is in the description of the video. Let me hit the ad. What's going on, everybody? This episode is brought to you by Ultra Game. Ultra Game is officially licensed by the NFL. Ultra Game NFL is a reintroduction to the classic NFL fan gear, boasting innovative design and fabric updates for the fresh fits for today's stadium goers that appeal to everyone. And if you use the link in the description right now, you get this great Ultra Game NFL Men's Sherpa lined full fleece hoodie sweatshirt. That's right. And this full soft fleece hoodie with Sherpa polyester lining ensures comfort and warmth in the cold weather. Length and fits as perfect as a layering piece for any physical activity. Just make sure you use the link in the description. That way you could get your Ultra Game Men's Sherpa full lined zip fleece hoodie sweatshirt at a discounted price. Let's get back to the video.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, I want to say thanks to LA Lance for being here. Appreciate you being here. Won the Super Bowl. I predicted it last year, and I held to that prediction the whole year as soon as, they got Stafford. But it is what it is. Truett says 8-9 record, tough schedule. Give another year. Peyton ain't walking through that door. Neither's Andrew Luck. So, you got to deal with what you got to deal with. Trayla says, I don't think Carson's done in Indy. I see him getting a second year. Restructured contract to create room. I don't think they're restructuring the contract. There's not a lot to restructure with, being that he was just traded. That, kind of. And on top of that, it's only $6.3 million on the roster bonus, right? So you can't really make room at that point because of the situation that they've got. You could, but it wouldn't be enough to really do anything with. It'd be better just to let it sit. That way, because if you restructure, that means you're making it into you're turning salary into bonuses, and that pushes that back years, which means that you are then at that point paying him next year, the year after, right? No matter what. Whereas if you don't do that, after this year, you could cut clean from him if you want to after this season. So I don't see him restructuring that contract.
Yeah, this year's a huge year for Carson Wentz because this could be make or break for his career, to be honest with you, as a starter in the league.
Absolutely. They're saying that there's a lot of, teams out there that might be interested in Carson. Because, let's face it, if Carson Wentz is on the trade block, he's the number one quarterback right now looked at. Over Jimmy Garoppolo, because they've already said because the team, Green Bay said Aaron Rodgers is off the table, right? And Seattle said that, he's off the table. I don't know about Kyler Murray, but I'm 100% sure that Kingsbury ain't trading his butt either, So at that point, if Wentz is on the trade block, he would be the number one quarterback out there over the free agents and what's available for trade. So that's possible. But really, what are you going to give up for Carson Wentz? You're not going to give up a first and a third, I promise you. Even though, He played a hell of a lot better last year than what he did the year before. I think everyone can agree to that. Okay? Yeah. Everyone. There wasn't 50 sacks in like 12 games. There wasn't, 15 interceptions in 12 games. There wasn't no crap like that. He was third in the NFL in turnover ratio. That's including fumbles, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, yeah, Carson played better than a lot of people want to give him credit for. The only issue is he has that don't know when to give up, right? Kind of similar to the way Andrew Luck was, right? Andrew Luck didn't know when to give up until later on in his career, right? But early on, he had that issue. He wanted to push it downfield. He wanted to carry it. He wanted to try to put it. Now, the difference is Andrew Luck is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. There's not a lot of quarterbacks out there that are generational talent the way Andrew Luck was. But, that's just what Carson Wentz is. And you got to, I don't know if you could ever take that out of him. I really don't. Those are the zebra stripes. That's how I see it. Now, could he get better? Getting timing down, getting the speed down of his receivers and things like that during the offseason, having training camp and all that, working on his footwork, working on stuff, absolutely. Getting the playbook down a little bit better, that kind of stuff, absolutely. But he's not nearly as bad as everybody said he was. I mean, everybody's like, well, look how he played in the last 2 games. Look how the whole stinking team played in those last 2 games. Come on now. And you can't put it all on Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and everybody acts like there was no improvement from 2020 to 2021. Okay? There was, a large improvement. Okay? You look at his interceptions went down. He completed the second most touchdowns of his entire career. The percentage, like 62 point something percent. And I understand that's not exactly where you want it, but that was, that was about, 4 or 5% improved over, 2020. And the thing is now, let's imagine all those pieces are, okay, now you give Carson Wentz another year. Hopefully they'll have a training camp. They'll have, a legitimate OTAs, off season, a lot of the stuff that they sacrificed last year, through the, discussions with the leadership of the team and stuff. I don't think that's happening this year. I think that these guys are going to have to realize that they got to come out and put the time in on the practice field stuff. He's already out there with, Dez Patman and Michael Pittman Jr. He's already getting reps. To me, it's like, give this guy a chance. Let him stick in there. If he doesn't, okay, fine, great. You still, I feel like, gave your team the best chance to win with Carson Wentz. Because to your point, you look over your shoulder and you see some of these, anybody in the draft. There's not a Trevor Lawrence coming in, and I'm sorry, I think Carson Wentz outperformed Trevor Lawrence last year, and he was the first daggone pick of the draft. So give this guy a chance. Hopefully the health will stay there with the team. Give him a full off season. He doesn't have to learn the playbook this year. He's fully versed on the playbook and stuff. And if there's things that you really need him to work on or whatever, have this off season. Take the time, work on it. Let your relationship with your receiving core get stronger and better. Get more time. I'm telling you right now, Carson Wentz, if he's on this roster and he comes out and balls out next year, I hope that there's just as many people that are sitting there and willing to say, all right, my bad. We jumped the gun on this one. Because I really do feel like there's a little bit of jumping the gun going on. Because I understand the grass is always greener on the other side. But you know what? Every time I get to that other side, that grass is dead by the time I get there.
And I'm going to tell you what. There's a lot of stuff out there. Shayla's even said something in the chat about cutting Carson Wentz. That ain't happening. I don't know where people are hearing about this whole cutting him. That ain't happening. All right. His roster bonus is just under $6.3 million. $6.3 million. Is that worth not having another decent to good quarterback on your team, considering what we have as a backup right now? Come on now. If you go get somebody else and just be like, you know what, quarterback competition. $6.3 million is not worth the cut. Not in my mind. Not the way I see it at all, without any question. But here's something. Oh yeah. McChicken says, if the Colts keep Wentz, does Peterson in Jacksonville concern you because he knows everything about Wentz? No. Because he don't know everything about Wentz. That's the reason why him and Wentz was, off the same team at the same time. They did not work great together. That was the problem. Frank Reich and Wentz worked well together, right? Mm-hmm. But no, it has no bother at all to me, in any little bit at all.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, these coaches have so much film and so much data on Carson Wentz. I don't really think that Peterson's going to have a whole lot more in his book of knowledge than the rest of the NFL would.
P. Draggy says microphone just made a Wentz is gone video and nothing he's ever said came true. So, and I know who microphone is. He's a lot of followers on YouTube. Yep. Lot of followers. Never shows his face, but he does pretty good in video content though. Like he does.
He shows his face.
Not as much as what I generally see video content like his cut and he's very good at editing. Very good at editing. Kyle Rudolph. No, I think he's over. Joe B asks about Kyle Rudolph. If the Giants released him, do you honestly think he's an upgrade for what the Colts already have? If the Giants released him. Okay? No. I'm just saying.
That's something I wanted to see what you thought. Do you think now that we're getting this little bit of information from that TY was interested a couple weeks ago and stuff, does that mean that, should we start maybe processing the fact that Doyle's going to be back next year? You know what I mean? Do we think that means more in that realm from what we know?
That is interesting because Doyle and TY, it was said that they were kind of linked together, that, their decision on staying next year would be based off what the other person does or does not do. So there is a good chance that Doyle stays. And if Doyle stays, I don't see the Colts going out and getting another tight end. I don't. Because they'll have Doyle, Mo Alley-Cox, and Kylan Granson. And they're just going to hope that Mo Alley-Cox and they'll hope that Kylan Granson takes a step this year, which, he got better in the second half of the season. First half of the season, he had a little bit of the droppies, but he looked a little bit better in the second half. Maybe another offseason be good for him. And let's face it, Mo Alley-Cox was used in the blocking game 99% of the time. Right? Same with Jack Doyle. We get ourselves a legitimate pass blocking left tackle. I think that could be a big help for our tight end group because they won't have to stay in and block nearly as much. Trey says that Mo Alley-Cox was disappointing last year. The issue here was, and this was a little bit on Mo and on Carson. Carson didn't have his touchdown right with Mo, right? He wanted to lay that ball only where Mo Alley-Cox could get it. You've seen it multiple times, and it would just go off Mo Alley-Cox's fingertips just a little too high most of the time.
Yeah, and seeing that, and for me, that was lacking from, I don't care if it was Doyle, Mo Alley-Cox, Colin Grant, the tight ends. Naheem Hines, that center of the field, that to me just seemed like some territory that was not being, utilized to the maximum. And it's weird because Carson Wentz has always been good at throwing the seam and stuff. So I'm not fully sure if that was more of a because everything got pushed back with the injury and all the other things. So my point, the reason I mention is there's another thing that does this evolve and does this expand offense. I mean, Ballard said he'd like to see Nyheim Hines get more plays. Yes, sir. So do I. I mean, I think most of us are feeling that way. You know what I mean?
You just gave him $6 million a year for 3 years. He butter.
Yeah, and the thing is this is more of that. I just don't know if Reich was ready for what JT brought to this team. The amount of dominance that we brought in the run game, and I just think he's got that year under his belt. He understands more. He's going to have this whole off season to plan accordingly. You know what I mean? And I see that this passing game is going to be able to take the next step, you know what I mean, and progress if Carson's given a shot, for another year.
That's the thing, right? When you have a good run game, your short, quick passes should work every time. Mm-hmm. If your run game is going well, you should be able to hit dump routes quickly, tight ends, little quick hitches by your wide receivers, your drag routes, your running back, little wheel routes or whatnot, because those linebackers and safeties are all closing in to stop that run, and then right behind that second level is wide open, right? That should work every stinking time. That right there, in my opinion, is exactly why I think that you could be right. Frank Reich wasn't expecting, the run game to hit the way the run game hit, especially with Jonathan Taylor breaking out over 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns, right?
Yep.
So
this year's their fool me. He got me once. Shame on me. Next time, shame on you guys. And I'm telling you right now, this league is going to punish, or this team is going to punish some people in the league this year.
Absolutely. Now we will be back live again on Friday at 6 p.m. But I have to end this very soon due to I have to go pick up my son. Hopefully I'll have my sound right because my microphone ain't working for my Streamlabs for some stupid reason. I don't know why. But appreciate each and every one of you. Please don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Please smash that like button. All right. Just hit it once. That's all you got to do. One time. It don't take no effort. Just bloop. All right. I'd appreciate it. So does Loyalist.
Yes, sir.
And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That is our boy Colts Loyalist. And as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
The second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth round pick this year, first round pick next year and the year after, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and Jonathan Taylor for Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, that's